The blue-tinted glow of emergency lights cast eerie shadows across the holding cell. Neela shifted uncomfortably, her iridescent skin reflecting the dim light as she tested the strange metallic restraints binding her wrists. Unlike the smooth technology of her homeworld Viraxis, these chains were crude and heavy, effective nonetheless. Across the narrow cell, a human male sat in similar constraints. His eyes, a shade of brown she'd never seen on her planet, watched her cautiously. 3 days they had been here, yet they had not spoken. The captors, whoever they were, provided minimal sustenance and no explanations. "They'll come back soon," the human finally whispered, his voice hoarse. "They always check during the 3rd cycle." Neela tilted her head, the delicate frills along her neck rippling with interest. "You count the cycles too?" she asked her translator pendant, converting her harmonic native tongue into something the human could understand. "I'm Damien, navigator from Earth Colony Epsilon," he offered. "You're obviously not from around here, Neela." "Xenobiologist from Viraxis," she responded, wincing as she shifted her position. "I was on a solo research mission when my ship was disabled." Damien nodded slowly. "Same. 1 minute I'm charting the Cygnus expanse, next I'm waking up here." Suddenly, the blue lights flickered, then died completely. Darkness enveloped them both. "Power failure," Damien whispered. "Second one this week." In the darkness, Neela's natural bioluminescence became apparent, subtle patterns of light dancing across her skin, illuminating her delicate features. "You're beautiful," Damien breathed, then looked embarrassed. "Sorry, that was unprofessional." Neela felt an unfamiliar warmth in her chest, an emotion her species rarely experienced with outsiders. On Viraxis, such direct admiration is considered a sign of respect. They talked through the darkness, Damien explaining Earth customs, while Neela described the crystalline cities of her homeworld. When she mentioned her ability to perceive electrical currents, Damien grew excited. "Could you sense weaknesses in these restraints?" "The power outage might have affected the magnetic locks." Neela closed her eyes, concentrating on the subtle energies around them. "There's a fluctuation in your left cuff. If you twist it counterclockwise while applying pressure..." Damien followed her instructions, grunting with effort until a soft click rewarded him. His hand came free. "It worked," he whispered excitedly, quickly freeing his other hand. He crawled across to Neela, his hands warm against her cool skin as he worked on her restraints. The touch sent unexpected shivers through her body. "Why help me?" she asked. "Your species and mine have never made formal contact." Damien paused, looking into her luminescent eyes. "Because whatever brought us here is bigger than our differences, and nobody deserves to be caged." As her restraints fell away, the emergency lights flickered back on. Their faces were inches apart, his expression soft with something Neela couldn't identify. "We need to be ready for the next outage," Damien said, reluctantly moving back to his side of the cell. "That's when we'll make our move." Neela nodded, but found herself missing his proximity. Something was changing between them, something neither of their worlds had prepared them for. Escape through the void, the opportunity came sooner than expected. During the meal delivery, the lights flickered again, this time, accompanied by a distant explosion that rocked the entire facility. "Now," Damien hissed, lunging toward the startled guard. With swift movements, he disabled the humanoid and grabbed the weapon. Neela was already at the door panel, her slender fingers manipulating the electrical current. "This way," she whispered as the door slid open. The corridor stretched before them, emergency sirens wailing. Damien took the lead, weapon raised, while Neela concentrated on the electrical signatures around them. Like 3 life forms approaching from the left junction, she warned. Damien nodded, guiding them right instead. "Any idea what kind of facility this is?" "Based on the energy configurations, it's a transport vessel large enough to be a freighter," Neela replied, her bioluminescence dimmed to avoid detection. "The materials in our cells suppressed my abilities, but out here I can sense much more." They navigated through narrow passages, avoiding patrols. At one point, they ducked into a storage compartment as heavy footsteps passed. Pressed together in the dark space, Damien's heartbeat thundered against Neela's chest. His sense, so alien yet increasingly familiar, filled her senses. "Your heart rate is elevated," she whispered, concerned. It's the adrenaline, he replied, but didn't move away. And maybe something else. When the danger passed, they continued their escape. A sealed door blocked their path, its security system more complex than the others. I can't bypass this one easily, Neela admitted. Damien studied the panel. On Earth ships, maintenance access is usually ... He knelt, finding a small panel near the floor. Here, together, they pried it open, revealing a narrow tunnel. Maintenance conduit, Damien explained. It'll be tight, but we can make it. The crawl through the dark, cramped space tested their resolve. Halfway through, Neela's pendant caught on a protruding wire. Don't move, Damien whispered, reaching carefully to free her. His fingers brushed against the sensitive skin of her neck, causing her luminescence to pulse brightly for a moment. Sorry, she whispered, embarrassed by her body's involuntary response. Damien smiled gently. Is that like blushing for your species? Something similar, she admitted. They emerged into what appeared to be a cargo hold, stacked with containers bearing unfamiliar markings. Smugglers, Damien realized, examining one crate. This is contraband from at least 3 different systems. Neela explored further, finding a terminal. Look at this passenger manifests. They're trafficking sentient beings across the border sectors. Damien's expression hardened. That explains our accommodations. We're not prisoners, we're merchandise. A shipwide announcement in a guttural language interrupted them. What are they saying? Damien asked. Neela's frills flattened against her neck. They're preparing for atmospheric entry. We need to find the escape vessels before they reach their destination. You can understand them? My translator is designed for xenolinguistic research, she explained. Come on, the hangar should be 1 level down. As they found the access ladder, Damien caught her hand. If we get separated, ... We won't, Neela promised. Her fingers intertwining with his a gesture she'd observed among humans but never understood until now. The hangar base stretched before them, a cavernous space dotted with smaller vessels alongside the main smuggling ship. Damien assessed their options with a practiced eye while Neela monitored the electrical systems. That scout ship, Damien pointed to a sleek craft. Small enough to be overlooked, fast enough to outrun pursuers. The launch bay controls are automated, Neela noted, approaching a terminal. I can override them, but it will trigger alarms. Do it, Damien decided. I'll handle the pre-flight sequence. They moved with urgency, but precision. Damien's navigation experience proved invaluable as he prepped the unfamiliar vessel. While Neela's unique abilities allowed her to manipulate the security protocols, as predicted, alarms blared across the facility the moment they initiated the launch sequence. Company's coming, Damien warned, spotting armed figures rushing into the hangar. 30 seconds until bay doors open, Neela called back, her fingers dancing across the control panel. Weapons fire peppered the scout ship's hull as they sealed themselves inside. Damien powered up the engines while Neela completed the override. The bay doors groaned open, revealing the star-speckled void beyond. Hold on, Damien shouted as he punched the thrusters. The small craft shot forward, clearing the hangar just as a barrage of energy weapons fired. The smuggler's ship grew smaller behind them until they made the jump to faster-than-light travel. Hours later, they emerged near a bustling trade outpost called Helios Pointa, neutral zone, where various species coexisted in relative harmony. They docked at an isolated berth, using the last of their stolen ship's credits to secure temporary lodging. Their room was small, but secure. With a single bed and basic amenities, Neela stood at the viewport, watching the countless ships coming and going. My people rarely venture this far from Voroxus, she said softly. Everything here is new to me.
Ow.
Damien joined her at the window, close enough that their shoulders touched. I've been to outposts like this before, but never with such interesting company. In the artificial twilight of the space station, Neela's natural luminescence created soft patterns across her skin. Damien watched, fascinated. The patterns, he asked, do they mean something? Neela nodded. They reflect emotional states. Right now, she hesitated. They show contentment, despite our circumstances. And this? Damien gently traced a fingertip along a brighter pattern on her arm. The luminescence intensified at his touch, spreading in rippling waves. Neela's breath caught. That's different. It's not common among my people with outsiders. Different how? He asked, his voice lower. It signifies attraction, she admitted. A biological response I can't control. Damien's hand moved to cup her face. I don't need bioluminescence to show my attraction, he whispered. Their kiss was tentative at first, an exploration of the unknown. Neela had studied human customs, but experiencing them firsthand was entirely different. His warmth contrasted with her naturally cool skin, creating a pleasant, tingling sensation wherever they touched. They spent the night learning each other's differences and similarities. Damien described Earth's oceans and forests, while Neela told him of vortexes, crystal caverns, and binary sunsets. When exhaustion finally claimed them, they slept intertwined. On the narrow bed, two beings from worlds light years apart, finding comfort in each other's arms. Morning brought the harsh reality of their situation. Damien's stolen communicator intercepted transmissions about fugitives, their descriptions matching perfectly. The smugglers have connections here, he realized grimly. We need a more permanent solution than hiding. Neela nodded, her frills flattening with determination. Cow. Then we find one together. The hunter's shadow 5 days they had managed to remain hidden on Helios Point. Constantly moving between sectors, trading information for credits and supplies. Their bond deepened with each passing day, each shared danger. Each quiet moment stolen between periods of vigilance. Neela's knowledge of xenobiology proved valuable in the diverse marketplace. She could identify rare specimens and medicinal compounds that fetched high prices. Damien's navigation skills and familiarity with outpost protocols kept them one step ahead of security sweeps. We've earned enough to book passage on a transport to the outer colonies, Damien said, as they returned to their latest temporary shelter-of-storage unit converted to living quarters. From there, we could potentially reach Earth territory. Neela's luminescent patterns dimmed slightly, and then I help you contact your people, Damien replied, noting her change in brightness. Less you'd rather stay with me a while. Longer, her patterns bloomed brilliantly, answering without words. Their embrace was interrupted by a sharp knock at the door. Open up. Station security. Damien motioned Neela toward the hidden compartment they had prepared for such emergencies. They moved silently, years of training guiding their actions. The door burst open before they could hide. A tall figure filled the doorway, not station security, but a single individual wearing specialized hunting gear. Fugitives Damien Hayes and Neela Vorexis, the figure announced in a gravelly voice. I am Krell, recovery specialist. The syndicate wants their property returned. We're not property, Damien growled, positioning himself between Krell and Neela. Krell removed his helmet, revealing reptilian features. The syndicate disagrees. Come quietly, and you'll remain together. Resist. And I'm authorized to deliver only one of you alive. Neela stepped forward, her frills extended in defiance. Your syndicate violated multiple interplanetary treaties by abducting us. Complaints. To be filed with management, Krell replied dismissively, raising a weapon. Now move. Damien lunged unexpectedly, knocking the weapon aside. Run, he shouted to Neela. What followed was chaos. Krell was stronger, but Damien fought with desperate intensity. Neela didn't flee as instructed. Instead, she grabbed a power, coupling from their equipment, and jabbed it into Krell's exposed neck. The bounty hunter convulsed as electricity coursed through his nervous system. I won't hold him long, Neela warned as they fled into the station's maintenance corridors. They separated at a junction, a strategic decision to divide pursuit, planning to rendezvous at the commercial docks. Neela arrived first, securing passage on an outbound freighter. Minutes ticked by with no sign of Damien. When the final boarding call came, Neela made her choice. She abandoned the ship, heading back into the station against all logic and safety protocols. She found him in a service corridor, wounded but alive, dragging himself toward their meeting point. You should be gone, he gasped as she knelt beside him, applying pressure to his injury. I couldn't leave, she admitted, her luminescence pulsing with intensity. Not without you. Sentiment is a liability, came Krell's voice from behind them, but useful for predicting behavior. They were trapped, Damien too injured to run, Neela unwilling to abandon him. Take me, Neela offered. Let him go. A Varaxian scientist is worth more than a human navigator. Neela, don't, Damien protested weakly. Krell considered the offer. The Syndicate wants you both, but you're right about your value. He approached, restraints ready, as Krell reached for her. Neela's luminescence flared blindingly, bright a defensive mechanism she'd never revealed. In that moment of distraction, Damien summoned his remaining strength, tackling the bounty hunter into an open maintenance shaft. Damien, Neela screamed, as both figures disappeared into the darkness. Neela didn't hesitate. Using her ability to sense electrical currents, tracked the maintenance shaft's path through the station infrastructure. Her Varaxian physiology, evolved for scientific observation, now served a different purpose. Desperation drove her deeper into the station's underbelly. She found them 2 levels down, Krell unconscious from the fall. Damien, barely breathing beside him. Using the bounty hunter's own restraints to secure him, she turned her attention to Damien. Stay with me, she whispered, cradling his head. His eyes fluttered open. Thought I told you to run, he managed. Humans give terrible advice, she replied, her voice trembling, using her limited medical knowledge and the emergency supplies she carried. Neela stabilized his condition. Her pendant contained Varaxian healing compounds meant for her own biology, but adaptable enough for emergency human use. This will hurt, she warned before. Applying the luminescent gel to his worst injuries, Damien gritted his teeth, but remained conscious. Worth it, he gasped, as the compound began accelerating his healing. With Krell's security credentials, they accessed a private communications terminal. Neela made the most significant decision of her life. She sent a direct message to the Varaxian Science Council, revealing not only her location, but evidence of the Syndicate's cross-species trafficking operation. Your people will come for you now, Damien said as they huddled in a secure maintenance hub. Waiting for us, she corrected. I told them about you about everything. Hey. Damien looked concerned. Varaxians have avoided formal contact with humans for decades. What if They'll understand, Neela assured him, though uncertainty lingered in her luminescent patterns. The Varaxian response vessel arrived within hours, far faster than expected. The smuggler's ship was immediately quarantined, its captives freed, its crew detained for investigation. When the Varaxian recovery team found Neela and Damien, they approached with caution, clearly surprised by the intimacy between the two species. Senior researcher Neela, the team leader, acknowledged formally. This human requires medical attention? His name is Damien, she replied firmly. And yes, we both need care and asylum. The days that followed brought sweeping changes. The Syndicate's operation was revealed to span multiple systems, triggering a joint species task force. Representatives from Earth arrived to participate in the proceedings, marking the first official diplomatic contact between humans and Varaxians. Amid the political maneuvering, Neela and Damien testified about their ordeal, their evidence proving crucial to dismantling the trafficking network. Their unusual bond became a subject of fascination and controversy some viewing it as a promising sign for interspecies relations, others as a complication. They want me to return to Earth, Damien told Neela, as they stood on the observation deck of the Varaxian vessel, watching stars streak by. To serve as a cultural liaison, Neela's luminescence dimmed, and I'm expected to resume my research on Varaxis. Worlds apart again, Damien said softly. Neela turned to him, her pattern shifting to a configuration he'd never seen before, complex and beautiful, not necessarily. I've requested a new research assignment studying human biology and culture. They've approved it conditionally. Conditionally. I need a primary subject willing to be observed long-term, she explained, a smile playing at her lips. Someone who understands both worlds. Damien pulled her close. I think I know someone perfect for the position. As their ship approached Earth, they stood together at the viewport, two beings from distant worlds. Brought together by circumstance, bound by choice, the stars streaked past, each representing possibilities neither had imagined before their captivity. Different worlds, Damien murmured against her luminescent skin. Same universe, Neela replied, her patterns glowing with what he now recognized as lava, constant across all species. All worlds, all distances below them. Earth grew larger in the viewport, an ending but a beginning,